Seriously, an easy way to stop smoking? Listen, if that's you right now, I totally understand you. In fact, I would have thought the exact same thing if someone had told me that in the past. Especially if, like me, you tried multiple agonizing and ultimately futile attempts to stop smoking in the past. But the truth is, and the reason why I'm making these videos, is there really is an easy way to stop smoking, if you go about it the right way. Go about it the wrong way, however, and it becomes virtually impossible. Alright, so let's talk about Chapter 2, the nicotine trap. And for that, meet the little monster. Actually, no, meet the big monster. Wait, what?
Just push the button, man.
Hey, what's up lads and lasses, it's your boy Cap Guy, glad to have you back. Alright, so you're very welcome on the second video on a series of videos that I'm making where we dive a little deeper in the chapters of this book, Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. If you haven't already, I suggest you go watch the first video I made in this series of video, or even before doing that, if you haven't done so already, I also suggest that you go watch my first video that I ever made about this book, which dives a little deeper in my personal story and how I went, after reading this book, from smoking 20 cigarettes a day for 8 years to being completely free. Alright, so last week, one of the points that we spoke about was that the nicotine addiction is not just an unfortunate side effect of being a smoker, but rather the only reason why you smoke. You see, this addiction, that nicotine addiction, is way more than just being reluctant to facing the truth about smoking. Be it the wheezing, the coughing, the lethargy, the stained teeth, the bad breath, ignoring every single warning on the pack of cigarettes that we buy every single day. Instead, this addiction causes us to spend every single day of our lives blocking our minds to all the powerful reasons not to smoke and to search for any flimsy excuse just to have that one more cigarette. But why does this sheer slavery never dawn on us? Because once more, we've been caught, you've been caught in the nicotine trap, where a smoker's mind is a constant tug of war fueled by fear. On the one side we have, it's killing me and it's costing me a fortune, it's filthy, it's disgusting, it's controlling my life. I remember when I was smoking, everything I did was calculated around my next cigarette. When I had to take a long haul flight, I would do anything to have that cigarette before getting on the flight, or even my meals, or even my lectures, or even my work, my write-ups, my study times, everything was around when I would have my next cigarette. So that's on the one side. On the other side, we have, I'll never be able to handle that stressful life that I have. I'll never be able to concentrate like I do now. I just don't have the willpower that is required to stop smoking. Or even worse, I'll never be able to enjoy life without this pleasure. I mean, honestly, what sort of pleasure is it that when you're doing it, you're either not aware that you're doing it, or if you are, you wish you weren't? Anyways, you see, Alan Carr says that the fear that fuels this tug of war of remaining in that trap is sometimes smaller than the fear of being released from it. You see, Alan Carr mentioned something quite interesting, at least when I read it I found it interesting. He said that it's a bit like long-term prisoners that commit a crime upon release, not because they believe that crime pays off, but it's the only way to return back to the security of the prison system. But let me make it absolutely clear. Every smoker will feel far more happier and more secure when they escape from this nicotine prison. Alan Carr says that the psychology of nicotine addicts means that the hardline measures and all these stark health warnings don't stop them at all. In fact, he says that they only push you deeper into this trap. But how? Because they reinforce all the myths that you've been told, that you've been fed. A, that it's so difficult to quit smoking. B, that smoking is a habit. C, that it requires immense willpower to quit. And D, that it requires products and substitutes just to help you go through this pain of the withdrawal symptoms. Now, those are just 4 examples, but there are many more. But remember what we spoke about last week. Alan Carr makes it absolutely clear that quitting smoking does not require willpower, and that there is no physical pain associated to nicotine withdrawal. You see, he says, your addiction is 1% physical and 99% mental. Indeed, if you were to isolate all of this physical pain that you feel whilst there's withdrawal of nicotine from your body, Alan Carr says that it would barely register as a small itch. This small itch is what Alan Carr calls the little nicotine monster. Okay, but how about that mental aspect of withdrawal, that 99%? Alan Carr calls that the big nicotine monster. This big nicotine monster represents all the brainwashing that you've accumulated in your life as a smoker, or even before. That smoking is your crutch, that smoking is a pleasure, that you enjoy smoking, and that you can't go through life without smoking cigarettes. You see, Alan Carr says that during withdrawal, when nicotine is leaving your body, the little nicotine monster, that little itch that you feel, is interpreted by the big nicotine monster as I need another cigarette and I want another cigarette. With each cigarette that you have, feeding the craving for the next. And so this communication between the small nicotine monster and the big nicotine monster goes on and on and on, unless you break it. Okay, so all this is really nice and it's good to say, but how do we free ourselves from this trap? How do we escape this trap that I'm talking about? All we have to do is destroy the big nicotine monster. And there is only one way to do that, not through willpower, not through substitutes. The only way to do that is to completely remove this brainwashing that created this big monster in your mind and lured you into this nicotine addiction in the first place. You see, that is what this book does. It shows you and millions like you how to escape and stay free from this nicotine trap. That is the easy way to stop smoking. But Alan Carr, the author of this book, makes it absolutely clear there is no need for you to cut down on smoking while reading this book. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Next week we'll be diving a little bit deeper into chapter 3. If you did like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up if you liked it, or if you didn't like it but you just want to encourage me to make more videos. Again, I encourage you to watch my first video, which describes my personal journey on how I read this book, and I went from smoking 20 cigarettes a day for 8 years to 0 cigarettes a day and enjoying every single aspect of life in terms of physical health and much more. And again, if this or any previous videos that I've made have convinced you to go read this book, please don't hesitate to just go buy it and read it and not watch the rest of my videos. That's the point of this series. That's the point of what I'm trying to do, is to get you and to convince you to read this book. So if I've done that, please don't hesitate, don't feel bad, don't watch the rest of my videos, and go read that book so that you may be free as well. Alright guys, thanks a lot and God bless. Ciao. Just go read that book.